the moguls of the industry, and I'll introduce them properly later on. So just for the sake of our TV audience, you are receiving live feed from the Volta Regional Capital of Ho, and I wish you were close by to see the scenery. Very beautiful place. And pressmen and women are gathered in here to discuss the history of media in Ghana, 75 years on, how excellently we've performed, and also help us shape the future. In Ever, we have an adage that says, so we are, literally translates, the fresh is made upon the old. Is that a good enough translation? We build upon the old, basically. So the foundation has been laid. You probably have gotten to the lintel level. We need to roof it properly. So we are doing a retrospective view of what we've done over the years and shaping the future. So that is what you are watching this morning from the beautiful green Volta Regional Capital of Ho. And if you had just one of your nostrils here to breathe the fresh air, you would attest to how green and beautiful the place is. Upon the arrival of the regional minister, we'll have our elder Piazza give us the opening prayer, and then there will be the introduction of the chairman and welcome address by the Volta Regional Chairman of the GJA, and the chairperson would give us an address. Then we'll have a purpose for the lecture that will be given us by Mr. Kobiasma. He is a member of the planning committee of the 75th anniversary, and he will do that on behalf of Mr. Godwin Avenogbo. And there shall be an address by our president, the GJA president, and some have called him several beautiful names for the advocacy he's doing on behalf of the media and how vociferous he's been, especially in the media, fighting against the ills that are meted out against the media. Please join me, welcome the MC for the municipality. And please, let's be upstanding as we welcome the Honorable Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Yao Lecha, and the President of the Ghana Journalists Association. Please put us together for them as we resume our seats. Thank you very kindly. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the public lecture, a public lecture series in celebrating our 75th anniversary as journalists. And we are all herein gathered beautifully to have beautiful and insightful nuggets to carry with us. Like I said earlier, Elder Seth Yao Piazza of the Bethel Prayer Center and of the Church of Pentecost will give us the opening prayer. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to thank the Lord for the privilege given me and all of us to see the light of day these days. To the President of GJA, my beloved father, Regional Minister Doc, who is a very, very close associate of mine, and all the people here welcomed. I'm just to say a prayer. But prayer without the word of God is like shouting in the air. I have ministered for the Lord for the past 45 years. And I speak from experience that prayer without the word is like shouting in the air. I won't preach, but I will crave your indulgence to give you about 4 scriptures so that when you go home, you know the basis of journalism. In the book of Genesis, that is the book of beginnings, chapter 41, there was a king who dreamt, and he was looking for the answer or interpretation of the dream. He called the wisest people in his domain. None could not, except a man filled with the Spirit of God, known as Joseph. You can find this thing in Genesis chapter 41. Then in the middle of the Bible, Esther chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 5, there was another mystery hanging over the Babylonian Empire. And the empire consisted of 127 nations, ruled by a powerful king known as Nebuchadnezzar. He had a dream and forgot the dream that he had. And he called for the medium, the astrologers, the wizards, the magicians, and the occultic people that were governing him and helping him in his governance. It was a mystery beyond them. Despite them dealing in the realms of the spirit, this was beyond them. And they called for a man filled with the Spirit of God. He remembered the forgotten dream of the king, interpreted the dream, and they found out that there is a power beyond all powers. So you can find that one in Daniel chapter 5. I've given you Genesis chapter 41, and I'm giving you Daniel rules over the empire, the same empire. It was written, sealed by the president, and it was to terminate the lives of people. Then there was this little girl of 17 years known as Esther. So when you read Esther chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, these chapters that I've called, it is just 46 verses. 46. So when you hear me calling the chapters, you may be alarmed that I'm trying to burden you. It is just 46 verses. Then finally, in the book, the last book of the Bible, I've given you one from the beginning and one for the last. In Revelations chapter 2, verse 1, that is where journalism's foundation was fully established. Said to the church in Ephesus, write. Chapter 3, verse 1, he said, write. So this is your ministry. So I can tell you without blinking an eye that you are in the Lord's business. Bless you for clapping. Bless you. You are in the Lord's business. So the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding that these people that I've mentioned exhibited, I'm just here to pray, invoke it. Maybe we may be lacking some nitty-gritties in this ministry, but I'm praying that the Lord, who gives liberally to all people, will grant you the ones that you don't have, and the ones that are there occupying places that it doesn't supposed to occupy will be flushed out of the system. On this note, I will honorably request that we bow down our heads and I pray. Jehovah, the God of all spirits, the God of all souls, and the God of all flesh, who is able to do exceedingly far more abundantly than what we think or ask, according to the power that lies in us. This morning, I join my fathers and mothers, brothers and sisters, and we say, we thank you. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for the breath of life. We thank you for your life-giving spirit. And we thank you for the giftings that you have deposited in us in various spheres of life to help build our nation and to help that our future will be brighter and better than what we are in now. I lift up my hands and join my fathers and mothers here, and I pray, oh Lord, may let your light shine through this meeting and let your glory be seen in this meeting. I commit all speakers here that they will come in the power of the Spirit and grant us unusual knowledge and insight into governance and into shaping nations, future societies, and families. If there is anything that is going to cause a commotion, I lay embargo on its activities. And I pray, arise in the power of the resurrection and let your glory be seen. After the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. Amen. Amen.
Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. And now that we've been ushered into the hands of the Almighty, let me quickly acknowledge some people through whose support we've gathered here today. So, like it is on the flyer, we had support from MTN, from Wisconsin International University, from GBC, who are carrying the event live, from the Ho Municipal Assembly, and the Volta Regional Coordinating Council, as well as Dolin Agricultural Shop here in Ho, Salaria IMED and Optical Suppliers here in Ho, and Accra as well, Volic Roofing Systems, Sogakope in the Volta region, Adonai Estate Limited, one of the businesses we are very proud of in the Volta region. Of course, the Volta Regional Coordinating Council, very supportive. The Ho Municipal Assembly as well, very supportive. Of course, they gave us the auditorium. And Sky Plus Hotel, Ho, Madisel Hotel, Ho, Wezo Hotel, Ho, Rabaze Guest House as well in Ho. May I also acknowledge a few people who have joined us here. I'll be doing the introductions along the way. I entered the hall, and one of the first faces I noticed came here as early as 9 a.m. as Dr. Hilary Bedema. Please put your hands together for her. She is a lawyer, a gender activist. I mean, if I want to read her profile, we might not leave here early today. She's with the UN as well. Very great woman. We have Miss Maria Kwame Aoun, a very old, the University of Health and Allied Sciences. Please put your hands together for her. She has been a press woman herself. She still is. I don't think the pen ever dies. And she is the Director of Public Affairs for our Shining Star University of Health and Allied Sciences. We also have Pastor Emmanuel W. Selassie. He is the Director of Public Affairs for the Ho Technical University. Please put your hands together for him. He's here in the stead of the Vice Chancellor of the Ho Technical University. We also have Honorable Maunyo Agbe. He is the presiding member of the Ho Municipal Assembly. Honorable Minyiba now is here with several assemblymen, so we acknowledge all of you. Thank you very much. We have Madam Dory. I would continue to do the introductions along the program. In the meantime, I would like to have a regional chairman for the Ghana Journalists Association welcome you officially. He's a very young, dynamic man, works with the Ghana News Agency, very dexterous when it comes to his duties, and is indefatigable. Please put your hands together for our regional chairman, Mr. Emmanuel Agba Hode. Okay, please join us as well to give us, to welcome us and to introduce the chairperson as well. Thank you very kindly.
All right, thank you, our MC, distinguished guests, colleagues, and members of the media fraternity. Indeed, it is a great pleasure to introduce our chairperson for this auspicious occasion. As the regional chairman for GJA Volta NOT, I would like to use this opportunity to extend a warm welcome to you all, to this public lecture to mark the 75th anniversary of the Ghana Journalists Association, the umbrella body of journalists and media practitioners in Ghana. I wish to express my gratitude to our national executives. In fact, they were here since yesterday, led by our very own hardworking president, Mr. Albert Kwabena Dumfor, and all partners and sponsors for making this event possible, to host it being a significant one. This is the oxygen city of Ho. Once again, you are all welcome. Now, it is my honor to introduce our chairperson for this distinguished occasion. She is a veteran journalist and dedicated pastor of the Evangelical Presbyterian Church, Ghana. She retired from a distinguished career in journalism, having served as a seasoned parliamentary correspondent with GBC, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and as the second dean of the Parliamentary Press Corps during the 4th Republican Parliament. She also worked as program officer with the Ghana Community Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, an accomplished alumna of the Ghana Institute of Journalism, now the University of Media, Arts and Communication, and also Trinity Theological Seminary, Legon, where she earned a Master of Theology degree. Currently, she serves as the parish pastor of the EP Church, Evangelical Presbyterian Church, Ghana, Lawrence Wolf Parish, Peki Blengo, and she is also a lecturer at the EP Theological Seminary, Peki. She is a devoted mother of 4 and a proud grandmother. Ladies and gentlemen, our occasion, our chairperson, is also a valued member of the GJA, the Ghana Journalists Association. In fact, she is an active member when it comes to GJA voter and OT. Please join me in welcoming our very own Reverend Ruby Nusienyo Amabele as our chairperson for this special occasion. Thank you.
Thank you very. Please don't sit down yet. Please, let's have your remarks as well. Please put your hands together for her. Put your hands together for her. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and I must say my very senior colleagues, my retiree colleagues, and then the Gen Z colleagues. I am highly privileged. In fact, I'm short for words to be asked to chair this very, very special occasion. I actually followed the lecture in Kumasi, and I was excited about it. Little did I know that I'll be involved in this. Thank you very much I thank you all, the National Executive, the organizers of the program, and all those who consider me worthy enough to be here for this 75 years of excellence in journalism, shaping the future. This is going to be very exciting. I recognize the gurus who are going to be doing justice to the topic, and I say thank you very much. I have accepted to chair to this function, and I believe you would all relax with us and enjoy it. You will not be let down. This is journalism which is recorded in the Bible according to Elder Piasa. So you will be writing to the nations today, and you'll be part of this writing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So please do it better for her. In my former church, you would have heard with a shoutology and clapology. Please clap for her once again. She's well deserved.
I'm going to start from here because they can't do. We'll first start from here, then, or
morning. As I've been introduced, I'm reading this statement on behalf of the GJA National Planning Committee Chair, Godwin Available. So permit me to read his statement. Madam Chairperson, Mr. President of the GJA, key speakers, executive officials of the GJA, colleagues, journalists, ladies and gentlemen. It is heartwarming to join you, our esteemed colleagues, here in the Volta regional capital, who, for another significant public lecture in our 75th anniversary series. Today's lecture is the second in this enlightening series and precedes the final lecture to be held in Accra this August. The first lecture series was organized at KNUST in Kumasi, the Ashanti regional capital. These lectures form a crucial part of our celebration, highlighting the 75-year journey of the Ghana Journalists Association as a beacon of professionalism, integrity, and dedication to the principles of journalism. We are marking the anniversary under the general theme, 75 years of excellence in journalism. Today's event, themed 75 years of journalism excellence, shaping the future, is not just a reflection on our past, but a beacon guiding us into the future. It is indeed refreshing and an honor to have with us three global luminaries: Cameron Dodu, a veteran and a stalwart in our Enki profession; Professor Kwame Kakari, a distinguished academician, many years of practice in the field; and Dr. Akofa Sebefia, a medical luminary as well, and social activist. These distinguished personalities bring with them a wealth of experience and insights that promise to enrich our understanding and practice of journalism. As we gather here today, we are reminded of the fundamental values that the GJA stands for: professionalism, circumspection, and objectivity. Over the past 75 years, these values have guided us through challenging times and have been the cornerstone of our success. Today's lecture, therefore, is an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to these principles and to engage in thoughtful discourse on how we can continue to uphold and strengthen them in the future. With the presence of our esteemed speakers, we anticipate a session filled with thought-provoking ideas and invaluable takeaways. Cameron Dodu's rich legacy in journalism, Professor Kwame Kakari's academic and practical contribution, and Dr. Akofa Sebefia's dynamic insights promise to provide opportunities that lie ahead for our noble profession. As we look forward to the final lecture in Accra, let us carry forward the lessons learned today and continue to strive for excellence in all that we do. Let us remember that the future of journalism is in our hands, and it is our responsibility to shape it with integrity, innovation, and unwavering dedication to the truth. I will at this juncture thank everyone particularly members of the Anniversary Planning Committee for their commitment to the cause as well as their presence and participation. Your commitment to the values of journalism and your support for the GJA are what make milestones like these possible and invaluable. Let us continue to work together, inspired by the past and motivated for the future. I welcome you once again. Let's have a productive and insightful lecture. I thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very kindly. Oh, please do it better for him. So, may I acknowledge the presence of some of our very distinguished journalists who are veterans. And one of the things that they've done that we always appreciate is that they are always with us when we need them. And they give us guidance, they throw their weight behind us, and they've always supported our work despite retiring from the practice. But like I said, the pen never retires. So please, help me make welcome Mr. Kobla Ali Kukubo. It's a lot of joy for us to continue to see our elderly hale and hearty and to continue to contribute their wisdom to our work. Please join me as well to make welcome Mr. Sefenyo Jokoto. All right, thank you very much. I'll introduce more of them as the program goes along, but may I also acknowledge the presence of students from the Evangelical Presbyterian University College. Please wave at us. EPUC, they are here in their numbers. Typically speaking, they are the premier university of the region, typically speaking, right? Okay, we also have students from the Ho Technical University, the premier tertiary institution of the municipality. HTU students, are you here? Yes, they are behind there. Thank you. We should also have students from the University of Health and Allied Sciences. You have students. I guess they are joining us shortly. Then we have those we love to catch young because it's a good thing to do. Students from Ola Senior High School. Oh, Ola, let's see you. Please put your hands together for them. Those are journalists in making, I believe. All right, so the next thing to do is to have an address by the man, like I said, who needs no introduction. A man who wins a battle at the market square needs no introduction. He is called Mr. Kwabena Jumfo. He is the president of the Ghana Journalists Association. Please put your hands together for him to give us an address. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, our MC, and good morning to you all. When Senior Kobiasma was delivering his purpose of gathering on behalf of the anniversary committee chair and mentioned that we are having the 3 lectures, the series. Do you want to know what my good brother and friend, the regional minister, asked me? He said, are you doing 3 lectures? I said, yes. I said, then we are privileged. We are privileged. That should tell you how important and how effective we see this region. The Oyo City is really doing so well. The GJA, in fact, the grassroots is very, very strong here. I can tell you that if I have to choose 3 formidable regions under the national or under the GJA, which is very strong and it's grassroots, who will be number 1 or 2. The voter region number 1 or 2. And so we didn't make any mistake choosing. In fact, the third which we are looking as key national personnel in government and other officials gracing it. And so after this, it's Accra-centric. Thank you. Madam Chairperson, my good friend and brother, Honorable Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Yao Lecha, veteran journalist Cameron Dodu, Professor Kwame Kakari, Dr. Segbefia, Comrade and Senior Kobi Asma, my able national executive members present, the spiritual leader and elder Set Yao Piasa, veteran journalist, the regional chair, Emmanuel, senior editors and journalists, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It feels so nostalgic to address you at the GJA's 75th anniversary lecture in the Volta regional capital city of O. This is the second in a series, as the first lecture took place in Kumasi a few weeks ago. Madam Chairperson, I want to thank our distinguished speakers for agreeing to take part in this historic event. The theme of the occasion, 75 years of excellence in journalism, shaping the future, necessitates the participation of eminent and distinguished professionals. And I'm confident that these distinguished speakers today fully meet this requirement. Today, we celebrate a remarkable milestone, 75 years of excellence in journalism. For 7 decades, our association has been committed to upholding the highest standard of reporting, informing, and inspiring the public. Such is the joy and excitement that greet all of us herein gathered. Jeff Jarvis once said, "The future of journalism belongs to those who can build a new model that combines the best of traditional reporting with the power of digital storytelling." This is why I see the theme of the anniversary celebration, 75 years of excellence in journalism, shaping the future, as very relevant and appropriate, as it serves as a reminder to us all to have a sober reflection on journalism as a practice in Ghana and on how we can shape it to stand the test of time. Let me remind ourselves that Ghana Journalists Association has come a long way, but it still has a long way to go. The institution, initially known as the African Press Association, came into existence on August 15, 1949, and has since undergone various transformations, including the Ghana Press Club and Association of Journalists and Writers, before settling on its current name, the Ghana Journalists Association. This serves as a testament to the fact that our beloved association has undergone numerous phases. Madam Chairperson, permit me and all of you, Regional Minister, to observe a minute silence for all our fallen heroes whose heroic toys we are currently enjoying. Permit me to observe a minute silence, please. May we be outstanding as we observe the silence. May their souls rest in peace. Thank you all. May we resume our seat. Madam Chairperson, as journalists and media practitioners, we have witnessed history unfold, told the stories of generations, and held the powerful accountable. Our journalists have risked their lives to bring the truth to light, and our publications have become a beacon of trust and integrity. As we look into the future, we recognize the changing landscape of journalism. We embrace the challenges and opportunities presented by new technologies, social media, and shifting public discourse. We carefully chose the theme for this morning's event to reflect the current era of digitalization and digitization. The traditional media, as we call it, has done marvelously well in the past and now. However, the traditional media needs to do more as regards the fast-changing trends in journalism. Traditional media cannot only survive, but also thrive alongside new media by adapting and evolving their strategies. These are some of the strategies that I think can help traditional media survive in the future. 1, embracing digital platforms. Madam Chairperson, for traditional media to survive in both quality journalism and revenue maximization, they should build a strong online presence through websites, social media, and streaming services. This helps them to reach wider audiences, including younger people who mainly consume content. Some have already embarked on this path, and we must accelerate our effort to avoid falling behind. Leveraging trusted brands and quality journalism. Despite the vast amount of information available online, traditional media still hold authority and credibility, especially in investigative journalism and detailed reporting. Maintaining high journalistic standards and a reputation for accuracy is crucial. In journalism, we don't compromise with accuracy. This is our hallmark. Attacks on journalists. Madam Chairperson, while we celebrate this day, we cannot overlook the recent increase in attacks on journalists. In 2024 alone, the GJA imposed a media blackout on key state personalities due to attacks on 3 journalists while they were on duty. Let me use this anniversary lecture to call on the government and authority to intensify its collaboration with the GJA in ensuring the safety and security of journalists in Ghana. We also wish to use this platform to appeal to the Attorney General to still expedite action on the Ahmed Suale murder case, a single issue that keeps affecting the position of the media on the World Press Freedom Index. 5 years have passed since the murder of the investigative journalist, yet there appears to be no progress. As an association, we shall continue to put pressure on state authorities to demand justice for Ahmed Suale. I also want to urge anyone with information about those responsible for this matter to help the police investigate this case. The media cannot thrive without the support of the public. As a result, we call for collaboration in this regard as we work to address our developmental challenges. Before I resume my seat, Madam Chairperson, allow me to express my gratitude to the 11-member Anniversary Committee under the leadership of Senior Gordon Avenogo for their unwavering dedication to their assigned responsibilities. They deserve a mega round of applause. And also to my able national executive members who have supported and who have collaborated, who have cooperated to see all these success stories to this day. Let's give a big one to them as well. Madam Chairperson, Honorable Minister, I'd like to thank you for your audience. Long live the 75th anniversary. Long live Ghana. And long live Volta region. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Oh, is that all you could do for him? Thank you. Thank you very much. I told you a lot is happening, and he's worth commending for all of that. He is here with a team of executives from the National Association of the Ghana Journalists Association. Let me acknowledge the presence of the General Secretary of the Association, Mr. Kofi Yeboah. Please, let's see you. Please put us together for him. May I also acknowledge the presence of the Vice President, Linda Asante Ejay. Yes, thank you very kindly. The Public Affairs Officer, Madame Rebecca Ekpe. The Organizing Secretary, Mr. Dominic Hloji. And the Treasurer, Audrey De Kalu. I hope I got the name right. Thank you very much. We appreciate your presence. May I also acknowledge the presence of another of our veterans, and I told you we have so many of them who support us. They are always around to lend us the support we need. Mr. Wilhelm Gaitu, is he here? Please put your hands together for him. Always looking like a 17-year-old man, but it's a very old man. Thank you very much. May I also acknowledge the presence of the representative of the Director of the Information Services Department, Mr. Emmanuel Dome. Emmanuel Dome, can we see you? All right, thank you. ASP Seidu Kodia is the Municipal Police Commander. Shall we see you, sir? Thank you very much for coming. I also have ADO1, Erica Mensah York, for the Ghana Fire Service. Shall we see you, please? Thank you very much. May I also acknowledge the presence of Captain Ishmael Mensah from the 66th Artillery Regiment. Thank you very much. He is leading these gallant men you see in uniform, and they have also supported this event. The military have continuously supported us, even our press center, giving us a number of items. We have a very sweet relationship with the military. Thank you so much. Please put us together for them once again, so that they can do more. Thank you very much. May I acknowledge the presence of Mr. Francis Ducey. Put us together for him. And also please make welcome the Deputy Regional Chairman of the NDC, Mr. Egypt Kudoto. Yes, please. Yes, please. We invited the political parties. The NDC has sent a delegate. And he is a journalist as well. He's been with the Inquirer for several years, been in Parliament, and is now into politics. Please, make him welcome once again. Thank you. Let's zoom on. May I now, with the singular honor than me, invite the man who leads the region. In fact, we say here that we are proud that short men are ruling the country. Please make welcome the Honorable Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Yao Lecha.
The chairman, the national president is my friend because we have similar characteristics. I remember I met him for the first time, Mr. Kobe, when I visited Graphic Communication Group. Then I met the president there, and he was also on a visit. So we became friends on that day. The chairperson, Reverend Ruby Amabele, a renowned retired broadcaster and a woman of God. Mr. Martin Cameron Dodu, a novelist and a journalist, veteran journalist. Dr. Akofa Segbefia, the Senior Consultant, Double Vision Media Limited, Professor Kwame Karikari, Professor of Journalism and Mass Communication, Mr. Albert Kwabena Dumfo, President of the Ghana Journalists Association. I want to acknowledge the presence of my big sister, Hilary Bedema, my senior in school. To put on record, Mr. Gaitu was my mate in my school. So many people have been associated with for a very long time. The media fraternity, GJA Volta, who have been working very closely with us, and that is why after Kumasi is Ho before Accra. Distinguished invited guests, Togbo Mamao, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. It is my greatest pleasure and honor to be invited to the 75th GJA Anniversary Public Lecture under the theme 75 Years of Excellence in Journalism, Honoring the Past, Embracing the Present, and Shaping the Future. First and foremost, on behalf of the Volta Regional Coordinating Council, on behalf of all the 18 municipal and district assemblies in the Volta region, on behalf of the chiefs and people of our noble region, I would like to welcome you all to the Oxygen City of the Republic of Ghana. And to extend my heartfelt appreciation to the President of the Ghana Journalists Association, the council members, and other stakeholders for the honor and invitation to address this distinguished gathering. Distinguished invited guests, today we gather here to celebrate this remarkable milestone, 75 years of excellence in journalism. This occasion is a testament to the dedication, perseverance, and passion of generations of journalists who have upheld the highest standards of this noble profession. As we honor our past, we should recognize the trailblazers who have shaped our industry. We pay tribute to their courage, their integrity, and commitment to the truth. We celebrate their achievements, their awards, and the impact of their work on communities and society, and by extension, the country at large. Madam Chairperson, as we embrace the present, we acknowledge the challenges of a rapidly changing media landscape. We must reaffirm our commitment to the fact-based reporting, investigative journalism, and storytelling that inspires and informs better through creative and innovative ways to get to almost all persons. As we shape the future, we must also embrace innovation, technology, and diversity. We must pledge all the more to amplify the marginalized voices, to hold power accountable, and to foster a more informed and engaged citizenry. Ladies and gentlemen, we must resolve in our daily endeavors to continually harness technology to embrace our craft, foster collaboration to amplify our impact wherever we may find ourselves, and empower the next generation of journalists to carry the torch forward. Let us celebrate our legacy, embrace our evolution, and forge ahead with purpose and passion. Congratulations to all of you on this momentous occasion. I thank you very much, Akpenami.
Please do it better for him as he resumes his seat. Thank you very much. He is the Honorable Dr. Archibald Yao Lecha, and he has a beautiful tale of how he chose to remain in the Volta region as it was formerly, against all odds when his colleagues were choosing brighter and better places at the time. But despite his height, he could see from very far. So he saw potential and he stayed. Doc, we are grateful. Thank you so much. Let me now move to the major session. But let me tease you with this, because I'm allowed a few minutes to do interlude. Let me acknowledge those of you who are watching us on GTV, on Atinka TV, and on Joy News TV. You are watching us live from the Volta Regional Capital of Ho, and we wish so badly that you are here to see for yourself how green and beautiful the place is, and clean, and why we call it the Oxygen City. By when you get to Asikuma coming down, you'd have started feeling the difference in the breeze. So when you're coming here, don't drive with air condition, so that you can enjoy the oxygen we have and what we talk about. So thank you for joining us live on these platforms. Stick with us. There is a lot more brilliant conversations that you would enjoy. This is the lecture series in commemorating our 75 years of journalism. Independent, but you get advertisement support or fund from the businesses. How independent are you if their matter comes up? So funding the media is the question. How independent would you be? I mean, of course, maybe independent of the political parties, but how about the businesses that give you advertisement money? These are questions that people have posed to me in my 8 years in the practice of journalism. And I mean, the administrative manager of Madonna Group, the deputy editor at the Accra Mail, the head of news at Sky Power FM and Sky Digital Television, a lecturer in journalism, a public relations officer at the Trans-Africa University College. He is in person of Dr. Akofa Segbafia to give us our first lecture. Please put your hands together as we welcome him. I wish the applause could be thunderous. Please clap for him.
Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before I even start with the formality, I would want to make one correction. When my brother Kobi Asma mentioned me, he said medical doctor. I want to correct that. I am not medical. Yes, paradoxically, I read some little thing about medicine somewhere. But rather, I did my doctoral in the philosophy of religions. Reverend Chairperson, the President of the Ghana Journalists Association, the Honorable Regional Minister, my senior colleagues who are here to deliver the lectures with me, all the senior and retired media practitioners here present, all protocols observed. I was almost going to say fellow Ghanaians. I don't know if I did that. Would I have infringed on somebody's at the first lecture series last month in Kumasi, my media colleague and friend, Ambassador Cabral Blay Amihir, who is a former president of the Ghana Journalists Association and also a former chairman of the National Media Commission, and Professor Amin Alassane, the Director General of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, set the tone in highlighting salient points regarding the media space in our country. Historically and very briefly, Ghana has had a long tradition of state ownership and control of the media dating back to times before independence. From the introduction of radio in the then Gold Coast in 1935 and television in 1965 until the airwaves were liberalized in 1996. Then radio and television were controlled by the colonial and then the post-colonial state. Private media was almost non-existent from our media landscape until it was enforced under the 1992 Constitution. The colonial administration didn't allow private media to operate, and this was also the case after Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah assumed office. Because of its socialist policies, the CPP government felt that state ownership was the way to go, even for media practice. As a result, all private newspapers were eradicated. The onus was on the journalists in the state-controlled environment to walk a fine line between their professional calling and serving as propaganda tools. In all these, Nkrumah is credited with laying out today's media infrastructure. Indeed, he established the Ghana News Agency, GNA, and the Ghana Institute of Journalism, the very first institution of training journalists in Africa. It was he who inaugurated the television service of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation as a non-commercial public service station at the time. The Achampong and Rawlings military eras also witnessed control of the media, while the civilian governments have been more accommodating, just as did the National Liberation Council military coup police junta that overthrew the Nkrumah regime in 1996. And through it all, our journalists have thrived and become professionally excellent. Now, with the media space open, thanks to the relentless but perilous journey of those who blazed the trail for excellence, we can look into the future with greater hopes for more professional achievements. The likes of Kwame Jauchem, Cameron Dodo, Christian Agri, Edward Amayibo, Edwin Tenge, and Elizabeth Ohini come readily to mind. But then there are many more, but time and space wouldn't allow that roll call here. 75 years in the life of an association that has strived to bring professional minds under one umbrella is no mean achievement. The Ghana Journalists Association was formed at a time that we didn't have the plurality of media establishments as we have today. It took courage, perseverance, professional commitment, and above all, love for the nation to bring the association about. I am tempted to describe that period as the analog epoch. Analog because technology hadn't evolved as it has currently. But this brought the very best out of our professional forebears. Today, with a click of a button, one can put together a 32 or 40-page newspaper. The GJA is more relevant at this point in time than it has ever been, primarily due to the exponential expansion of the media landscape, where news travels at a breakneck speed, and more professionalism and ethics are demanded of us. Where I grew up, newspapers reached us between 5 days and 1 week after publication. Even some of the regional capitals, including Ho, got the newspapers delivered in the evening or the day after. So to churn out newspapers in those days was daunting and needed competence and dedication to do. That was the skill set we applied to our tasks as journalists in those days. However, we have evolved from the analog epoch and find ourselves in the digital epoch. The internet, which started with ARPANET in 1969, where computers of 4 universities were connected to one another, exploded onto the global stage in 1991, thus created what has come to be known as the information superhighway. And with the advent of cellular phone, things have got a notch higher and have been made a lot easier, which has inevitably brought us into the epoch of social media. Many people see social media as a menace, a double-edged sword if you like, because it is difficult to regulate or control. As espoused by Professor Amin Alassane, the traditional model that has sustained journalism in the past 75 years is under threat, since the social media model doesn't need content production to rake in advertising revenue. A young pretty lady with an Android phone twerks her behinds and uploads the video on TikTok. She does this regularly. She's likely to make more money in a week than a regular journalist will make in a whole quarter of a year. Language is the basic tool for anyone aspiring to be a journalist. The only advice I give my students in this regard is read, read, and read some more. I don't want to sound boring repeating Professor Alassane, except to say that though social media is a challenge to the mainstream media, there are numerous opportunities that could bring revenue to them. But it is important to do it right and earn the respect of the audience, of the reader, whichever is applicable. The latest phenomenon is artificial intelligence, or AI. By definition, artificial intelligence is the theory and development of computer systems capable of performing tasks normally requiring human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision-making, and translation between languages. Indeed, AI is capable of anything a human can do, and even more. So if social media is a double-edged sword, I wonder where AI can be placed. But as far as technology is concerned, AI is a no-brainer, a tool that has the potential to transform economies onto greater pedestals. Like every tool of advancement, AI has both positive and negative sides to it. Recently, I saw a video that purported to show AI at work in the transfer of one human head onto another human's body. Can you beat that? Artificial intelligence is said to be showing a lot of promise in health delivery, crime detection, manufacturing, and transportation. In fact, it is said to be doing everything imaginable. But wait a minute. I program your facial features using artificial intelligence. I feed it into a device and then to an explosive and fix it onto a drone. Once you look up to the sound of that drone, it identifies you 100% and releases the missile in your direction. And before you know, you are in the mortuary. This is a real and classic side to artificial intelligence. I am aware that some countries are targeting their dissidents or enemies using this technology. Imagine us humans being overwhelmed by an intelligence we have created, and we have no idea how to reverse it. As we speak, scientists have not made up their minds on the origin of the 2019 coronavirus that almost shut down the world and took millions of lives. Imagine artificial intelligence as a war weapon. Let me use this opportunity to call on our leaders across the globe to do everything possible and seek out the negative effects of this AI phenomenon from their experts and regulate its deployment before we wipe ourselves out in the name of technological advancement. But as journalists, we should embrace what positives the AI brings to enhance the performance of our vocation. We must embrace whatever we can use to advance our country's development agenda. The good news, however, is that we can use AI to disseminate information as quickly as we want to. Having endured the last 75 years as an association, there is future for journalists and journalism. With the proliferation of media outlets, the number of journalists has increased exponentially. This provides for healthy competition among media organizations, and it is our professionalism and multitasking that can keep the media business afloat. I implore every journalist to register as a member of the GJA, but let no journalist see themselves as bigger than our professional body. As one, we can have a stronger voice to seek better working conditions and recognition. As one, we can be each other's keeper. As one, we can be assured that anyone who touches a journalist will be seen as having touched the GJA. Journalists must be bold to speak truth to power. The Ochihini Osajifo Amuetia of Oripenyi recently admonished journalists to be courageous and firm in the face of challenges. He said, and I quote, "We can't be passive in the face of evil. Let's uphold the truth because we need it now or never. Let's create a culture of courage where journalists can flourish. Don't be afraid to speak the truth, even when it is difficult. Challenge the status quo, even when it's risky," unquote. Yes, we must be bold and fearless in the pursuit of truth, equity, and justice in the discharge of our professional duty. But I caution that being bold and fearless should not make the journalist reckless. First, be sure that what you want to put out there is newsworthy, true, and in the public interest. In an election mode as we have this year, it is likely politicians would want to use journalists to prosecute their political agenda. There is nothing wrong with that. But we preserve our integrity and image by being professional at all times. But mostly, politicians would want us journalists to dance to their music. By all means, let's have friends within the political class, but let that not define our professionalism. Sadly, a majority of politicians don't play the music the journalist is even capable of dancing to. All they want of you is the dance. At times, they even want to tell us how we should do our job. I recall, very briefly, during the time of the late Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings when he was president. It was after his passing that people even got to know that I was a very close friend of his. When I was the deputy editor of the Accra Mail at the time, I looked him in the face and I told him, "Your Excellency, Ghana is under your governance, but you don't have any business telling us journalists how to do our work. Imagine the persona that had been created around Rawlings and a young journalist like me telling him this in the face. You could imagine where my heart was at the time. But then, I believe that had either endeared him to me or endeared me to him. I don't know which one is applicable. We have become friends until his passing. Then there is this vexed issue of politicians owning media houses, which some pundits believe has the propensity to undermine media or press freedoms. Some think it is a non-issue, yet others are of the view that journalists in these organizations were more likely to do the bidding of their employers. I call on all stakeholders to fashion out a framework that will insulate journalists from being used in a manner that impinge on their independence and ethics. Let journalists not allow our politicians to set our agenda for us. It is our duty as journalists to set the agenda for and on behalf of the people the politicians are elected to serve. That is the sure way we can get our leaders to account to the people. We shouldn't allow politicians to set the questions themselves and answer them. That is our duty to the people, our countrymen and women. I single out for mention the Johnny's Bite segment on Media General's 3FM and TV3 channels as a classic example of raising issues and getting results for the good of the people. Journalism has a future in this country. The Ghana Journalists Association has a future, thanks to organizations like the Media Foundation for West Africa that not only advocates for media freedom and professionalism in Ghana, but in all 16 countries in the West African sub-region. And I therefore support the call by Ambassador Cabral for a review of the composition of the National Media Commission to make it more responsive to the needs of the time. The dynamics of the media space have changed substantially, and that calls for the NMC to work full-time in addressing the expanding media focus to achieve optimal results. I cannot gainsay the fact that the media has come under attack, and our president also touched on that, and criticism from one perceived infraction or the other. It is true that the most disliked or hated people are the ones who tell and stand by the truth. Are we not told that the truth shall make us free? We make mistakes, but is it not better to make the mistake on the side of truth? I dare ask. I cannot end without this piece of advice to our young compatriots who are desirous of becoming journalists. You might have heard that the primary duties of a journalist are to inform, educate, and entertain. You need to imbibe the maxim that you can only give what you have. So the question is, how do you educate if you yourself are not well educated? How do you disseminate information if you are ignorant of the information that you are supposed to disseminate? Of course, to entertain, you need to entertain your readers, your viewers, or your listeners. All you need is just a little sense of humor. Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I believe you and I will agree, I believe you all will agree with me that it's about time the Ghana Journalists Association considered creating a GJA Hall of Fame to honor men and women with proven journalistic excellence, to motivate all of us journalists to strive towards excellence. And on that note, I thank you for your attention.
Please do it once again for him. Very thought-provoking. Should I allow you a moment for that to simmer down? That's a good one. If you're watching us live on TV, you're watching us from the newly constructed Assembly Hall of the whole municipality, and who is the oxygen capital of the country. It's a very beautiful place. We are holding the second in a series of lectures in commemorating the 75th anniversary of the Ghana Journalists Association, celebrating the excellence in shaping the future. Just gone by is Dr. Akofa Segbefia. A very thought-provoking lecture, and I'm intrigued by the questions on what creature we are creating through AI, and what if AI decided to go to war with humanity. Anyway, may I acknowledge a few more people as we get ready to have Cameron Nodu for our second lecture. May I acknowledge the presence of Dr. Nathaniel Glover Menning as a professional journalist, now with the University of Health and Allied Sciences, formerly with the Ghana News Agency. Is he here, please? Good pleasure having you. Please make him welcome. Thank you very much. May I acknowledge once again that we are streaming live on GBC, on Joy News TV, as well as Atinka TV. And this event is under the abled chairpersonship of the Lady Reverend Ruby Amable, a woman who has distinguished herself in the practice of journalism. Let me also acknowledge the presence of one of our shining entrepreneurs from the Volta region, Reverend Dr. Bright Adonai. Please acknowledge his presence. Thank you very much. His organization also sponsored this event, Adonai Real Estate, and they have several businesses in town. May I acknowledge once again the presence of the GJA Volta Regional Executive under the able leadership of the chairman, Mr. Emmanuel Agbahode. And we also have the administrator here, Mr. Lambert Kofi Achivo, and several practitioners. May I single out for mention Mr. Alberto Mario Naretti of the Daily Graphic. Please appreciate him. May I also single out for recognition Mr. Kafui Gati, formerly of Ghanaian Times. Please. Thank you very much. Whom else am I seeing? Okay, so as many more as I identify or notice, I would acknowledge. May I acknowledge the presence of Mr. Courage Do Dagbe from the Volta Regional Health Directorate. Yes, please. Thank you very kindly for coming. May I acknowledge the presence of Mr. Frank Kofi. He's a senior headmaster at Wallace Academy Senior High School. Yes, please. Yes, please. We are grateful that you attended upon us. May I acknowledge the presence of Reverend Sister Giftee Anastasia Blewu. Is that right? Yes. Thank you very much, Anastasia, Sister Anastasia. Please join me, make welcome Mr. Emmanuel Dovi of ISD. Mr. Emmanuel Dovi, are you here? Yes, please. Thank you very kindly for attending upon us. Then may I introduce Christian Binu and Vivian Ajali. I hope I got that right. From Mauli School. Are they here? Yes, please. Thank you so much. Oh, please put it together for them. Thank you. This is just an exhibition of how much support we enjoy as journalists from the region, from the military to the police, and to all friends and loved ones. We would have our next lecture. By this time, I'm sure that you have, I mean, what Dr. Sebefia has shared with us has sunk in a little bit. But I'm sure you've made notes because there are great nuggets in there for us to chew on for several days. We will move to a man who, I mean, has been based in the United Kingdom for a good time of his life. And he's been a novelist, a journalist, editor, and a broadcaster. He published a novel, The Gap Boys, in 1967. And went on with a very beautiful career in journalism. I cannot read enough about him for the sake of time, but please join me, make welcome Martin Cameron Dodu to address us. Please keep putting your hands together for him. He's a man who has walked the trail, lived the life. He's a journalist to the core. You can keep making it, give it up to him. Please keep clapping for him. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, Honorable Minister, colleagues, friends, it is a great honor to be here in Ho, a beautiful city. I've been astounded by what I've seen. And of course, you've heard enough about journalism to last you a lifetime. I will only add to it by saying that in order to have a flourishing future, you must create it in the present. I have grandchildren, many of whom are studying abroad. I ask myself if some of these children come to Ghana and they see on YouTube water being used to make gari, which has to be purified with alum first before it is used. Please don't take my word for it. Look for Google and bring up polluted water being used for gari. How are our children going to live, become like us, thrive, when we sit down today polluting the water they use to drink, the water which is used to cook for them to eat? It is like a fairy tale. Can you believe that Ghanaians who produced so much gold that the country itself was called the Gold Coast, but who never destroyed one river, are now producing gold and destroying rivers as a result? Does it make sense? So what are we doing? We have the mechanisms in our society to halt this. Those of you who are of Akan origin will remember what we call the Asafu group. Asafu, Chirem. The literal meaning of Chirem means explain it. We have the Chirem drums locked up in many of our palaces. They only come out during festivals when our chiefs are decked up to the nines, very, very noble, very, very awe-inspiring. But when their rivers are being destroyed with excavators, they forget that in the past, the drums were used to summon people to a common cause. And that common cause was to defend the livelihoods and the lives of our people. Just before I came, I was reading a news report. It says that a judge had dismissed the case of some people who had been caught doing galamsey, and the judge's reason was that the person leading the organization of the galamsey effort had obtained a license. But the government agency that issued that license knows that there is a provision in the Constitution, Article 278, go and check it up, which says that no contract for the extraction of natural resources in Ghana can be allowed without the prior ratification of Parliament. Article 278 is there. Because we are not enforcing it, a judge can throw out a case that has been brought about people who are doing galamsey. I am bored, stiff, with talking about galamsey. And that is where I end my speech.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for the man who's over 80 years, who still accepted an invitation to travel all the way here to share nuggets with us. Please put your hands together for him again. And like it is said, the frustrations of the old are signals to the young. He's tired talking about galamsey. Well, may I comment my reserve? Or the other way around? Okay. I had a call recently about an attempt to mine something around KGB areas, and I understand there's some ore, iron ore also. And the youth were critically calling for engagement. They just wanted to know what was going on, and that was not being done. And I think that that's the beginning of our story of galamsey in the Volta and Oti regions, if we are not careful. Let me quickly zoom into the third speaker. Another man who has earned his name. He's earned his name. He's distinguished himself. He's distinguished himself in the practice, in advocacy, in organizing people of the press. He's the former executive director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, and has been for several years a professor in journalism and mass communication at the School of Communication Studies at the University of Ghana. He has also been involved in training journalists in several parts of Africa over the years. Prior to that, and during all those years, he practiced as a journalist. including serving as the Director General of the Public Ghana Broadcasting Corporation in the early 1980s. He has also been an activist pursuing social justice and human rights causes in Africa, including democratic reforms in Ghana. He serves on several boards of African and international rights organizations and on the editorial boards of academic publications. He was educated at the University of Columbia in New York and the City College of New York. Please, with a round of applause, join me in welcome Professor Kwame Karakari. I want a thunderous one for him. He's a colossus. Thank you very much. Yes. He wants this one. He wants this one.
Madam Chair, Reverend Ruby Amable, our Honorable Regional Minister or his representative, my friend Dr. it's an honor for me to be here to participate in this lecture series here. But, Madam Chair, before I make my formal presentation, I want your indulgence to make an observation about this very beautiful city. I have been coming to the Volta region since 1964 when I was in training college, first to a voluntary work camps at Chito. I've been coming to Peki because of friends and also to visit our great patriot, Dr. Ephraim before he passed. I've been coming to Kwando, to Hohoi, to my late friend Akutuampau's town, and other cities. And of course, I've passed through Denu and Aflao, and I've also been to Keta and other places because of other friends from the area, including the late Captain Kojo Chikata and so on. Now, and I've been to Ho a few times, what puzzles me is this, and let me say that I know every part of this country. In fact, I got to know every district town before I was 30 years old. Because I traveled to voluntary work camps and other such activities. And up to today,
I am wondering, and in my estimation, the Volta region is the cleanest region in this country. And Ho, of course, is also the cleanest regional capital. And my observation is, how do you do it? Because you must share that experience with the rest of this country. Because the two things that are killing this country, and they are connected: poor sanitation, which is a minor cousin to Galamsey, which is the worst of the wraths that Satan or whoever has bestowed on us. So you have a responsibility to teach this country how to keep towns and cities clean. My elder Cameron made a very short speech. You notice that he didn't talk about journalism. But the point he was making, the point really he was making, was that if this menace, this gargantuan menace of Galamsey is going on, if this crime, this biggest of crimes for the future of our country is going on, what is the media doing? That was his message. Even though he didn't pronounce it that way, but meeting journalists here, that is what he was saying. And the Galamsey thing, I must add, is something that the media, Mr. President of GJA, Kofi Yeboah, my colleague at Wisconsin University and the General Secretary, you must encourage the media to make us an endless campaign. You see, when President Akufo-Addo pronounced himself a few years ago on fighting Galamsey, the media took an initiative to form a coalition and started working on it, but they left it hanging. They haven't pursued it again. The media must pick it up again, because it is the worst of the menaces this country could go through if we don't take a serious stand against it. Now, we are here to celebrate 75 years of journalistic excellence, and to take stock and to move forward as the theme says, embracing the present and shaping the future. As an academic, unfortunately, my job has largely been to be critical of things, of situations. So if on this day of celebration I sound critical, listen carefully to what the content of my criticism, and evaluate it. Don't judge my criticism. Think carefully about my criticism and judge it, whether it is merited or not. On the occasion of the 75th anniversary of the founding of the GJA, I think there is every reason to remember with respect and praises the pioneers and the successful leaders who have kept the organization going actively and with consistent relevance. This is an organization of a profession whose members have always been in the eye of the storms of the social and political tumults that the country has experienced throughout these 7 decades. To have survived the turmoil of this season and generally maintained its independence and integrity is an achievement worth every celebration. As such, the celebration must also be an oath, a vow to maintain and to continue to promote the core values of the profession. Because it is the promotion of these values that justifies the existence of the organization of the professionals. Journalism, to repeat a cliche, is an activity conducted in the public space for the public and in the service of the public interest. As a result, now and again, here and there, journalism practice is bound to come up against the discomfort or indeed the wrath of some or other centers of authority in the public arena. For as long as the public exists, therefore, there will always be sources of challenges to the integrity of the profession and obstacles to the freedom of action of the professionals. On this occasion, Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, therefore, let us attempt to raise for reflection some of the critical challenges the profession may need to address in order to strengthen the rights and security of practitioners and also for improving the standards and quality of their work and service to the public. Let us remember that it is now 2 centuries, 200 years, since Sir Charles McCarthy introduced the press or media of mass communication in our country. That is 1822. Indeed, this year, 2024, marks exactly 200 years when that British overseer of the English castles and forts in the Gold Coast was killed in a war with Asante. I suspect that his head, which was beheaded, may still be somewhere in the museum in Manchia. In all these centuries, it is in the Fourth Republic that the Constitution, the basic law of the country, has provided the most elaborate and liberal protections of freedom for the functioning of the media. And indeed, as a testimony to the global advances in modern communication technologies, and as our colleague Dr. Segbefia here has alluded to, this 30-year-old Fourth Republic is also the period that has seen the most remarkable growth and expansion of media outlets and facilities since independence. Yet, this same period, which is marked by constitutional enhancement of freedoms, technological advances and expansive growth in media organizations, this same period presents some of the critical challenges to the future progress of the industry and profession. So let us take a look at some of these challenges. 1, the state of press freedom. A look at developments in recent years. Shows a number of factors that threaten the freedom of the media and journalists' safety as professed in the Constitution. These dangers must alert the Ghana Journalists Association and allied media institutions to resolve to be more vigilant, better organized, and more resolute in protecting the media and journalists. And I'll give just a few examples. Now,
in the darkest moments of attacks on press freedom in the country, journalists have been imprisoned without charge, trial, or due process. In those dark moments, a number have been forced into exile or hounded to stop publication of their newspapers. Some have been sacked from their jobs or been persecuted so much that they have had to leave the profession altogether. And talking about some who have been sacked, our elder here, who was, in my estimation, one of the most creative and brilliant editors we have had in newspaper journalism, was once sacked by a government that was supposed to be a liberal government because of his editorial opinions. There are many other journalists from this region who also suffered the same fate. A contemporary of Cameron, John Dumogan, was also sacked at some point, and there are others. From the colonial days until the first elected government under Rawlins in the 1990s, the courts too have railroaded a number to prison on charges of seditious or criminal libel or contempt. One journalist, also from this region, called Dompre, spent 8 years in prison, convicted under the offense of violating state secrets because he reported a story on cocoa, and he was arrested and imprisoned because at that time the government under the PNDC, thought it was state secrets. On record, 1 or 2 journalists have died as a result of such arbitrary and cruel detention. And again, one of your own sons, John Kublenu, died after some years of arbitrary detention. All of these and other heinous things have happened. But the murder of journalists because of their work has never been part of this cruel experience. It is only in the Fourth Republic. It is only in the Fourth Republic. And ironically, extremely ironically, under the government of President Akufo-Addo, the one president who had been the most vocal advocate of the rule of law, human rights and press freedom, that a journalist has been murdered by an as yet unidentified perpetrator. A murder most possibly instigated by a politician of President Akufo-Addo's party. Again, and listen to me carefully, President Akufo-Addo, and I know in person his views and his commitment to press freedom, and especially also to the preservation of GBC as a public service organization. You can't take that away from him. But ironically, politics produces all manner of ironies. All manner of ironies. Yet it is under this man, who even defended some journalists in court and so on. We marched with him in defending Kweku Bako, Haruna Atta, and others. And yet, under his government, it's the only time in our history that a journalist has been murdered for his work, and the police are not doing anything about it. Instigated by a man who is in Akufo-Addo's party and who wanted to also become a president. Again, during this same political administration, there has been disturbing stories of actual death threats to journalists in Ghana. The Constitution provides mechanisms for receiving and settling complaints from the public. The law courts are also open to resolve abuses by the media. But there has been a disturbing trend of certain sources of power, especially among traditional authorities, chiefs, arbitrarily closing down radio stations as their response to publications they have deemed unacceptable. I'm saying that we have a constitution. If you have a problem, use the law. But there are chiefs who close down radio stations in violation of the constitution, in violation of the law, because what the radio stations have said, they didn't like them. Meanwhile, the constitution says if you don't like it, do A or B. At worst, go to court. But they said no, I'll use my traditional authority to close down the radio station. Other non-state actors who have sometimes taken the law into their own hands to attack journalists' freedom include some elements of the Christian clergy, pastors, and we have a few examples. On a regular basis, though, and I come to you, my brothers and sisters in the security, however, journalists face the hostility, no, not you yet. On a regular basis, however, journalists face the hostility and violence of foot soldiers of political parties. As elections approach, this source of threat looms very high. But on top of the scale of regular harassment of journalists, here I come, are the police and state security operatives. Over the years, there have been consultations and meetings between media institutions, including the Media Foundation for West Africa and the GJA, and the police authorities to establish protocols for promoting mutual understanding and cooperation and to improve police-media relations. These efforts, however, unfortunately, have yielded no significant progress, and I entreat our hard-working President and new executive of the GJA to pick up this issue of continuing dialogue with the security agencies, because we need each other. We need each other. The media need the security need the media. The country needs the security country needs the media. Now, let's also look at questions of professionalism. The many threats to press freedom notwithstanding, perhaps one major source of concern for public trust in and support for the media are the challenges of ethical and professional standards. Widespread complaints among all sections of the population against media wrongdoing erodes confidence and undermine public support for media freedoms of the media because of popular perceptions that the media only insult people. As it is, many professional people hesitate to provide information to the media because they fear their views will be misrepresented or distorted. Media houses are loath to acceding to basic responsibilities like providing opportunities to citizens to exercise their right to reply to issues published about them. Meanwhile, the Constitution demands of media to honor rejoinders from the public. The sources of poor professional standards are many. A major one, however, is partisan prejudice among journalists. This results from the dominant ownership of media by political party elites in the Fourth Republic. In the past, and I'm sure Cameron will bear me out, the point is not that parties cannot participate in the media. In the past, political parties owned newspapers, and you knew that this is a CPP newspaper or this is a UP newspaper, and so on and so forth. Today, that is not there. In this season, I am the chief executive of a political party, I'm the bankroller of a political party, I'm a this and that, and I own radio stations. And what do I use it for? And a very curious and disturbing phenomenon is the political parties actually organizing so-called what do they call them? Serial callers, who dominate radio discussions and spew a lot of insult, character assassination, and so on and so forth. Now, this development has bred of parties, politicians and parties dominating the media sphere has bred a veritable cadre of what is called mercenary journalists. Some of these types of journalists are very well educated and highly sophisticated, so they wield a lot of influence, but through bad journalism. They use their media power to defend the most indefensible acts by their paymasters and use their outlets to denigrate other journalists and media working to expose wrongdoing by public office holders. Fortunately, however, not all media and journalists are bastardizing professional standards and ethical values. There are examples of high-quality journalism in the public as well as some among the private commercial media and even among the small community radio stations in a number of rural areas. The problem is that the large number of media owned by party elites, mostly set up for propaganda purposes, muddy the atmosphere and tend to overwhelm the quality products of the professional types. Now, I'm coming to self-regulation as self-protection. As professional standards and ethical conduct decline and public confidence in the media recedes, the need for self-regulation by media and their professional and industry bodies has never been as urgent. Yet, there seems to be little or no reflection and interest or concern about finding ways to reverse the trend. Madam Chair, neither GIBA, that is the Ghana Independent Broadcasting Association, nor PRIMPAC, that is the Newspaper Publishers Association, as organizations of industry owners, neither of these organizations have made any effort to address these challenges. Some years ago, the Ghana Journalists Association took the important initiative of establishing an ethics committee. Journalists and editors refused to cooperate with it, and the effort died for want of acceptance by members. The fear is that if media continue to insist on their disdain for self-regulation, a government may come someday that will impose unpalatable statutory regulatory measures on the industry. Madam Chair, let me turn my attention now on building the future of the Ghana Journalists Association. While we extol the achievements of the old age of the GJA, it is also time to ask hard questions of the future direction of the organization in meeting the challenges of today and the future, as the theme of the anniversary boldly proclaims. I would like to put forth some suggestions. In conclusion, I would like to put forth some suggestions to be considered for policies and programs for advancing the growth and strengthening and the strength of the GJA as it attempts to shape the future. 1. Strengthening the structures of the organization. From the outside, the Ghana Journalists Association structures for promoting the welfare and professional interests of members of the profession appear non-existent or at best weak. Its day-to-day administration of people and things have been devoid of professional personnel for a considerable time. Considering how rapidly and complex media are developing, The organization may consider establishing structures or units staffed by full-time professionals who lead programs for the provision of a variety of services to members. And these services may include A, legal services, 2, B, welfare issues, C, labor rights, including improvements in wage scales, and D, professional counseling. In terms of wage scales, the wage scales, in fact, I know many radio stations in this country who don't even pay salaries. The journalists must fend for themselves. I know a case in Kumasi where journalists in one radio station went on strike about 4 or so years ago. And I asked some of the journalists, a lady who was working with them, she has since transferred to another station, why are you protesting? She said, Prof, can you imagine that they pay me 100 cedis a month? And meanwhile, this is a station that was owned by a very big, wealthy businessman. Now, promoting professional standards as one of the tasks for the GJA going into the future. The Ghana Journalists Association ought to consider the establishment of a mid-career training center for practicing professionals. The institute shall work to upgrade the knowledge and skills of middle to upper editorial management personnel of media houses. It will organize periodic sessions for exchange of experiences, ideas, and seminars for the introduction of new ideas, skills, and technologies. Organize sessions to find ideas and answers to new trends and critical issues confronting professional practice. Provide platforms for interaction with journalism training institutions on issues pertaining to training and curricular development. The Ghana Journalists Association may collaborate with an existing journalism training institution for the establishment of the proposed mid-career training institute, and it is encouraged to seek participation of the main industry associations such as GIBA and Primpag. 4, advocacy for promoting enabling policies. The Ghana Journalists Association's work in policy advocacy appears rather ad hoc and spontaneous. It tends to be reactive to events and developments. And this is one area that can be improved by setting up units or departments headed or run by persons with appropriate professional backgrounds and capacity to promote its intervention or its participation in policy decision-making. Protecting rights, freedoms, and security of the journalists. Similarly, the Ghana Journalists Association may need to strengthen its activities and be more vocal in protecting members' rights and security. This would include finding the means to promote legal defense of members facing the law for defensible acts. In this area of work, it is important that the organization seeks cooperation with existing press freedom advocacy organizations with the expertise and experience, such as the Media Foundation for West Africa. 5, expanding the organization. Dr. Segbefia has already alluded to it, but let me also add that many people have entered the profession in recent decades because of the enormous multiplication of media outlets. There is a need for an aggressive program of membership recruitment to expand the numbers and provide the needed services to the majority of practitioners. It will require creative activities to attract and retain them. Increasing membership numbers is one important means of strengthening the organization. Madam Chair, I would like to conclude by repeating the cliche that democracy and development of the society need responsible, professional, and trusted media. As we pursue these goals of development, it is imperative that everything necessary is pursued to advance a media industry made up of professionals conscious of and committed to the values that make the media's role and function relevant and trusted by broad sections of members of the society. Owners of the media and professional practitioners constitute the two principal agencies who bear the responsibility to promote and enhance these values and principles. And therefore, we want on this anniversary to charge the Ghana Journalists Association to take the initiative to promote these great values. Thank you very much.
Please do it for him once again. Thank you very much, Professor Kwame Karim. All right, so let's make progress very quickly. Let us digest these information as quickly as we can and have an open forum very quickly before we lose the TV time. So if I can get technical support in microphones, let me open the floor very quickly. If there are comments to make, questions to ask, let us do those. And if Madam Chairperson will permit me, I'd like to start with Dr. Hilary Gbedema. I know she definitely has something to say. And so, how do I get this microphone out? Dr. Hilary Gbedema, please come over here for me, for the sake of the cameras.
First of all, thank you for ambushing me so expertly. I didn't know you were this multi-skilled. So to begin with, I would like to begin by thanking very deeply everyone represented here today. I would not like to mention names. The protocol list has already been done because I may risk dropping someone within the ranks. But this has been very, very enlightening. And as I thank generally, let me thank specifically the brother of Dr. Segbefia, who is a classmate and who was the one who alerted me that this was going on. And I told him that I would be sure either to gate crash or to get an invitation. I managed to do both. Now, as regards our interaction this morning, please let me state that those of us in the gender front and in the international gender space highly value the media because you do so much for us. And when we issue our concluding observations to states, we ask for media dissemination. We do this because it is important that the news, first of all, be spread. It is through the media that we have reports of infractions. How would we know the so many things that happen across the country, within communities, within the courts, if it were not for the media? For this, we are very indebted. Not only that, but the media monitors the outcomes. And so, in many instances, there is a follow-up. I do agree that in some instances, they become cold cases. And here, let me thank very much our veteran Cameron for raising the issue of pollution and climate change. This is an area in which women are disproportionately affected. We may think it is neutral news, but who suffers when the water bodies are polluted? Who is responsible for making sure households have water, fuel wood, and so on, and the many social vices that go around this phenomenon? How we can see how women are disproportionately affected. Again, I thank you for Dr. Segbefia for listing out the responsibility of the media, the education that I've talked about, the spreading of the information. But here, let me say that as gender experts and as women, we see downsides. We see downsides in the language that is used, which is not always gender-friendly and contain implicit gender biases. We see stereotypes. We see normalization of the objectification of women. And these are areas that we would like the media to pay attention to. This could be also because there are not enough women in the critical media spaces who can bring out women's lived realities. And again, it raises the issue of how friendly this environment is to women. Here, let me commend you, my friend, Professor Karikari. I recall that I did some research, gender in the media, and you endorsed this publication about 20 years ago. So we are concerned about the deep fakes, the doxing, and the challenges of artificial intelligence. Let me finally conclude my brief observations and comments by looking at the entertainment value of the media. Here, Dr. Segbefia, you did mention that information, education, you needed the material, the information, you had to be educated. But with the entertainment, you said a little sense of humor would do. Permit me to respectfully disagree with you. We want proper sense of humor. Not the sense of humor that is so random that it puts women down. Forgive my language. It is not my language. It is Shakespeare. He says, better is a witty fool than foolish wit. So entertainment should be appropriate. I thank you all. God bless. And this is indeed an epochal event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I knew she would be spot on. Please put it together for her again. May I once again remind you that we are live on GTV as well as Joy News TV and Atinka TV. And thank you for those of you who have been with us the whole time. May I acknowledge our sponsors once again, those who supported us to put this together in whole. And we are one of 3 regions to host these events, out of 16. And for us, it's important to acknowledge that it's a good thing. So let me acknowledge our sponsors, MTN, Wisconsin International University, GBZ, of course, for generating the fee that the other media houses are taking, and also locally, the Volta Regional Coordinating Council. A special thank you to you from the president of the association. We sincerely acknowledge your support for the association, and also to the whole municipality, the whole municipal assembly for the support, and the local businesses that gave us money and other forms of support. Doling Agricultural Shop here in Ho, Salaria IMED and Optical Suppliers here in Ho, Volink Roofing Systems from Sugakope in the Volta region, Adonai Estate Limited, whose CEO is present here with us, the Volta Regional Coordinating Council, of course, and the whole Municipal Assembly, of course, Sky Plus Hotel, Madisel Hotel here in Ho, Wezo Hotel in Ho, Rabaze Guest House here in Ho, and as always, the 66th Artillery Regiment. Please put your hands together for them. All right. I would want to receive, with the permission of the chairperson, a few remarks, maybe 2 more, if we have TV time, before we get our vote of thanks, our chairperson's closing remarks and vote of thanks. Anybody who is interested in giving us some remarks, while at it, may I acknowledge the presence of a few other senior journalists from the Volta region who are here with us. Mr. Maxwell Auma from the Ghana News Agency is here. Please put your hands together for him. Mr. Robert Abilba of TV3, one of please put your hands together for him, our seniors. Senior Sami as well. How did your surname just escape me? Please put your hands together for him from Chronicles. Mr. Sami Agbaode. Yes, I have to redeem myself. Any comments? If there are none, ladies and gentlemen, we have managed to keep to time very beautifully. And I will, well, yes, of course, we are live on GBC, online as well, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, on Facebook, and I'm sure you'd acknowledge how active the station of the nation has become on social media. A beautiful work. So please, with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome the chairperson of the event to give us her remarks. Please put your hands together for Reverend Ruby Amable.
Thank you very much, MC Aklama. I think the presenters or the discussants deserve a huge round of applause from us. Thank you very much to the veteran media persons. They actually, in fact, I went through a history class this morning, right from Dr. Akofa through to my own prof. We actually had gone on a big journey, and I believe we all have something to take home. I'm particularly excited about bringing us through the past into the reality of the future, how we must handle what the trends about technological development and make it relevant to us, and also for it not to overwhelm us. That's very good, and I believe the younger generation who are very much hooked onto the trends now will be taking a cue from it. Maybe some of you are preparing to become journalists. I developed the interest right from Ola when I was in sixth form, so the Ola girls are here, prepare, you are going there. And then Mr. Dodu, Cameron Dodu, in fact, the attention that you are drawing us to focus on the environment, it's very important. If we want to create a flourishing future, as you said, it is now. And we all must put our hands on deck to get in there. It's not just about us, the journalists, but all of us need to, we must draw attention to these things. I must be vocal in making sure that we get there. Otherwise, in a couple of years, there'll be no Ghana. Those of us who are from the coast, we know what is happening very soon. Who knows, they'll be drilling oil in the Keta Sea Basin, and I don't know where I would be hanging. So let us begin to speak now, all of us. And of course, Mr. President of GJA, there's a huge task placed on you. Professionalism, ownership, and being able to move us all around along with you so that we can remain relevant in these current circumstances. It is very much important for us to do that, because in time past, there's always they try to put a distinction between who is a journalist and who is not. I think that question must also engage us now, so that we know how we can broaden the base and be able to bring all in and then move ahead. I might say we all have something to take away. We've had something to consume. And if I were in the chapel, I would say, turn to somebody and say, it is good you are here. Good. Thank you very much. And I'm so excited to be part of this history-making day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very kindly. May I do a few more acknowledgements, and we move the vote of thanks and do our closing prayer. Let me first of all acknowledge the presence of Kwabena Nto from the Oti region. All the way from the Oti region. Where is he? Yes, please put your hands together for him. May I also acknowledge Mr. Jagede of the NDC, who has also joined us here. Please put your hands together for him. He is also with the Volta Business Forum. There's a forum of the sort that he is with. May I also acknowledge the good work of the local organizing team who so expediently put this together. Let me start with Mrs. Yvonne Halley Kanyi. Yes, applause are in order. Miss Tilda Akolo. Yes, please put your hands together for them. Mr. Samuel Akumate, Mr. Jones Anglima, and Miss Doreen Babu. Please put it. Oh, do it properly for them. Thank you very much. May I invite Tilda Elena McCullough to move the vote of thanks. One quick comment, Chairperson. I can go ahead, please. Just a moment. A quick intervention from Dr. Segbefia.
I'm sorry to have done this at this particular time. I am proud to come from the Volta region, no two ways about that. And I'm proud to be Ever. I'm also proud to be Anangulo, though I'm married from Peki. Let us not allow ourselves to be called who we are not. If our forebears decided to call our region Volta region, we have accepted that. We, people of this country, are called Ghanaians. We are not called Ghanaians. Why are we called Voltarians and we accept it? Where in Volta is the letter R? Am I making sense? So if we are Ghanaians and you want to refer to people of the Volta region, then we should be Voltaians, not Voltarians. There is no R in Volta. This is what I want to bring to your notice. Let us be very, you see, we have accepted certain things and we just let it go. When are we going to do the correction? This is just my little intervention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very kindly. I told you when you sit with age, wisdom shall be your possession. Please put your hands together for Tilda Elena McCullough as she moves the vote of thanks. Please excuse it, yes. No, please come. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Good afternoon to you all. The regional minister, the municipal chief executive, the president of the Ghana Journalists Association, the esteemed guests, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express my profound gratitude for this insightful lecture, the second series of the Ghana Journalists Association's lecture on the 75 years of excellence in journalism, shaping the future. Thanks to the speakers, Dr. Segbefia, Mr. Cameron, Doudu, as well as Professor Kakari, for those insightful lectures and those incredible things that you told us as young people. The Gen Z journalists will take it home, as well as the millennials as well. It has been very insightful, informative, and enlightening. Thank you for sharing your remarkable insights today to understand the theme for the lectures. Thank you also to the LOC, the Local Organizing Committee. Ben, I've actually mentioned them and acknowledged them. I want to say thank you to them. And thank you to Volta, OT, GJA as well for your dedication to make this event a remarkable one. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time when this event is organized again.
Thank you very much. And this has been our time. My name is Benjamin Aklama. It's been a great pleasure moderating today's event. Thank you so much. Let's have a closing prayer from our Muslim sister, Sumaya Saeed. Please put your hands together for her. Please be minded that we shall take photographs after closing. right in front here. So please do not be in a hurry to move away. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ben. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Ya Allah, we thank you so much for this insightful program. We thank you for these powerful powerhouses who grace this event. We pray for traveling mercies for all participants of this event. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, sirata allazina an'amta alayhim, ghayra al-maghdubi alayhim walad-dallin. Ameen.
Thank you very much. We shall take photographs now. Let us have, yes. Let's have the National Executive with the speakers first, alongside the chairperson. Lambert, we need help, please. So let's have the speakers with the National Executive. Speakers and executive. Speakers and executive. Speakers and executive. Nto. Speakers and executive.
GTV, the authentic and trusted voice of Ghana. Up next, documentary. GTV, the authentic and trusted voice of Ghana.
Sɛ wohwɛ mfoni a waa wobɛdi atom sɛ ahomte kakra na sɛ mesan bɔ amanneɛ sɛ wei ɛyɛ ayaresabea a nkurɔfoɔ kɔ kɔgye ayarehwɛ a wobɛka sɛ meboa sɛ woanka ne saa mpo a ɛneɛ na ɛbɛyɛ ɔwanwa paa nanso nokora wɔ mu ne sɛ saa mfoni ɛyɛ ayaresabea titiriw a agye din ɛwɔ Ghana man mu a ɛkuku dam abentin ɛkɔ hɔ kɔgye ayarehwɛ na obi a napom ensisi no so ɛkɔ baabi te sei ɛkɔkɔda hɔ sɛ ne wododo no nti yɛntenetene rapom mu ma no a wogyidi sɛ ne papa mu a wogyidi sɛ ɛbɛma no nya ayaresa ntɛm saa ayaresabea yi ɛdin ɛne Konfanɔkye Teaching Hospital a dodoɔ no afrɛ ne G ɛno ɛna atete apansam ɛwiewie sei ɛfiti 1954 a yɛsi ayaresabea yi a ɛhyɛ ne nnwuma ase 1955 ɛde bɛto menne ɛwɔm si akrakra ne fa ɛnam sɛ yɛmpɛ sɛ obi bɛka sɛ yɛayɛ ahwɛ hann ɛma n'agye agu koraa nanso baabi aduru deɛ aboro akrakra so aduru si yɛyɛ no foforɔ ne